The afternoon told a strange story for anyone watching closely, because what unfolded over 4 quarters felt like two completely different teams wearing the same uniform. Early on, nothing looked comfortable for New England. The offense moved without rhythm, drives stalled before they could breathe, and the overall pace felt rushed, almost disconnected from the identity that had been built throughout the season. Miami took advantage of that hesitation, finding space and confidence while the Patriots searched for answers. It was the kind of first half that creates doubt, the kind that makes fans wonder whether this would become one of those divisional games where control never truly arrives and frustration slowly builds possession by possession. Then the break came, and everything shifted. Whatever adjustments were made in the locker room immediately translated onto the field because the team that emerged for the second half carried a completely different posture. The defense tightened its grip, the offense found balance, and suddenly the game moved at New England's pace. Miami was shut out entirely after halftime, and that detail alone explains the transformation. This was no longer a back-and-forth contest, but a methodical takeover, where discipline replaced confusion and execution replaced hesitation. By the time the final score settled at 38-10, the feeling was not relief, but authority, the sense that once control was claimed, it was never going to be surrendered. That result capped a regular season few anticipated. 14 wins against 3 losses, a top seed position secured, and home playoff football locked and speaks to a journey defined by growth rather than hype. Months ago, expectations hovered around simply being competitive, maybe sneaking into the postseason if things broke the right way. Instead, this group earned its standing through consistency and adaptability, learning how to win in different environments and situations. That ability showed clearly in this game, where patience replaced panic and adjustment replaced stubbornness. One of the most telling aspects of the performance was how the offense resisted the urge to force the passing game. Drake May played within himself and within the structure of the game plan. His stat line, 14 completions for 191 yards with a touchdown, does not demand attention on its own, but the context gives it meaning. He protected the football, avoided unnecessary risks, and made decisions that kept the offense on schedule. A quarterback rating comfortably above 100 without turnovers reflects composure and understanding. He extended plays when needed, used his mobility intelligently, and never chased throws that were not there. The kind of discipline is often overlooked, yet it is exactly how games like this are won. The true engine of the second half was the ground attack, which completely altered the tone of the contest. Ramondre Stevenson delivered a performance that felt inevitable once he found his rhythm. 7 carries turning into 131 rushing yards tells its own story, but it was the manner in which those yards came that stood out. He ran decisively, attacking gaps with confidence and power, refusing to be brought down by arm tackles. Adding 3 total touchdowns, his impact went beyond production and into psychology. Each explosive run chipped away at Miami's resistance, making every defensive snap heavier and more exhausting. His resurgence since returning from injury has reshaped the personality of this offense. There is a noticeable difference in how the unit operates when the run game asserts itself this way. Defenses are forced to commit bodies to the line of scrimmage, opening space elsewhere and allowing the offense to dictate terms. Complementing Stevenson, Travion Henderson brought speed and balance, creating a combination that is difficult to contain. Power and acceleration working together stretched Miami's defense until it finally broke. Once New England committed fully to that approach, there were no answers coming from the other sideline. Through all of it, Hunter Henry continued to be a steady presence. His 5 receptions for 56 yards came at moments when stability was needed most. He found soft spots in coverage, secured the ball, and moved chains without drama. Tight ends who understand leverage and timing become invaluable as games tighten, and his connection with Drake May continues to grow naturally. It is the kind of reliability that often goes unnoticed until it is missing, and in this game, it quietly anchored multiple scoring drives. Defensively, the turnaround was just as dramatic. Early possessions exposed some gaps, but once adjustments were made, the unit locked in. Pressure up front became consistent, collapsing pockets and forcing hurried decisions. An interception that shifted momentum felt like the emotional pivot of the game, the moment where confidence swung decisively. From there, tackling sharpened, gap control improved, and Miami struggled to generate anything meaningful. The defense played aggressively, but with discipline, trusting assignments rather than reacting late. By the fourth quarter, the outcome was no longer in question, to the point where Drake May was able to step aside and watch the closing minutes unfold. That detail matters because it reflects complete control rather than desperation. The team did not chase extra numbers or unnecessary risks. It played situational football, protected its key pieces, and closed the game efficiently. That approach has defined much of the season and has carried New England to this position. As the regular season gives way to postseason preparation, the sense around this team feels grounded rather than inflated. The offense understands it does not need to rely on one dimension. The defense has shown it can absorb early pressure and adjust without losing structure. There is belief, but it is built on execution and preparation, not on noise or expectation. That foundation often proves critical once games become tighter and every mistake carries greater weight. What this performance also did was force a broader reevaluation of narratives that had lingered earlier in the year. Drake May has become central to that conversation, not because of highlight chasing, but because of influence. He controls tempo, makes the right reads, and elevates those around him. His mobility adds a layer that defenses must respect, extending drives and punishing lapses in discipline. These contributions rarely show fully in traditional statistics, yet they consistently tilt games in New England's favor. Context matters as well. This is not an offense built around perfection, but adaptability. Reads change, emphasis shifts, and the approach evolves based on what the defense allows. That flexibility begins at quarterback and ripples through the entire unit. It creates calm in moments where chaos often creeps in, allowing patience to replace urgency. Sometimes the run game takes over, sometimes field position becomes the priority, and sometimes the passing game strikes quickly. That balance has become a defining trait. The backfield, in particular, embodies that identity. Stevenson's confidence has returned fully, and his vision through traffic continues to improve. Henderson's speed forces defenders to hesitate, creating openings that did not exist earlier in the season. Together, they demand respect on every down, reshaping defensive alignments and opening space across the field. That effect extends to the receiving group, which has embraced efficiency over volume, understanding that contributions come in many forms beyond the box score. Defensively, growth has shown in resilience. Early setbacks no longer dictate outcomes. Halftime adjustments have become a strength, and pressure without excessive blitzing has allowed the secondary to thrive. Quarterbacks hesitate, windows close, and mistakes follow. That formula becomes even more valuable as competition intensifies and margins shrink, setting the stage for what comes next. As the focus shifts forward, the conversation around this team deepens because of how complete the performance felt once control was established. It was not just about winning convincingly, but about the way New England dictated the flow of the game after identifying what was working. That ability to adjust without overcorrecting speaks to a level of maturity that usually takes much longer to develop. This roster has learned to process information quickly, respond calmly, and execute with precision, even when the opening script does not go as planned. Drake May continues to sit at the center of that evolution. His growth has not been loud or dramatic, but has been steady and unmistakable. He plays with an understanding that every drive does not require a spectacular outcome to be successful. Sometimes the best decision is a check down. Sometimes it is using his legs to extend a play, and sometimes it is simply throwing the ball away and living for the next snap. That restraint builds trust across the offense. Linemen stay engaged, receivers run routes with purpose, and the entire unit operates with a shared sense of responsibility rather than individual ambition. What stands out is how comfortable he looks managing situational football. Third downs, red zone possessions, and late half scenarios no longer feel rushed or improvised. There is a clear plan, and he executes it with confidence. His ability to read coverage before the snap and adjust protections has reduced negative plays and kept the offense ahead of schedule. That kind of command does not always show up in highlights, but it consistently tilts the field in New England's favor. The offensive line deserves significant credit in that progression. Against Miami, the difference between halves was striking. Communication improved, assignments were cleaner, and the push at the line of scrimmage allowed the run game to take over. When the line establishes that kind of presence, everything else becomes simpler. Running backs hit holes decisively, play action becomes more effective, and the quarterback operates without constant pressure. That collective improvement has been one of the most encouraging trends as the season has unfolded. Balance has become the defining theme of this offense. The Patriots no longer rely on one player or one concept to generate production. Instead, they adapt week to week, sometimes leaning on the run, sometimes attacking mismatches through the air, and sometimes controlling the game through field position and clock management. That versatility creates problems for opponents, especially in the postseason, where preparation time is limited and adjustments must happen quickly. The receiving group reflects that mindset as well. Targets are spread based on opportunity rather than expectation, and there is a clear understanding that contributions go beyond catches. Blocking on the perimeter, disciplined routes, and awareness of spacing have all improved. When the ball comes their way, they capitalize, and when it does not, they still influence the outcome of the play. That level of buy-in does not happen overnight, and it has quietly strengthened the offense as a whole. Hunter Henry's role continues to grow in importance within that structure. His ability to find space in tight coverage and provide a reliable option in critical moments adds stability when defenses clamp down outside. Tight ends often become safety valves in playoff football, and his consistency has given the quarterback a dependable presence over the middle of the field. That connection has developed naturally and has become a subtle but vital part of the offensive rhythm. On the other side of the ball, the defense has embraced an identity built on resilience and adjustment. Early drives no longer define the game. Instead, the unit responds by tightening coverage, improving communication, and increasing pressure without sacrificing structure. The pass rush has found its rhythm, collapsing pockets and forcing quarterbacks into rush decisions. When pressure arrives organically, the secondary benefits, playing with confidence rather than caution. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Your support helps us bring you the latest updates on the New England Patriots. And of course, drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from Patriots fans. The name STEFON Diggs is once again echoing through league circles, and this time the tone feels more uneasy than celebratory. Around the New England Patriots, whispers are growing louder that something behind the scenes may be shifting, and Diggs' situation is suddenly at the center of speculation. No official statement has been made, but insiders suggest that the star wide receiver's future may not be as stable as fans would hope. Diggs, whose journey began as a fifth-round pick with the Minnesota Vikings before his high-profile move to the Buffalo Bills in 2020, has never been a stranger to scrutiny. His talent has always been undeniable, yet his career has also been marked by questions about locker-room dynamics, leadership, and expectations. Now, wearing Patriots colors, the receiver's name resurfacing in rumor mills has raised eyebrows across the league. Some believe the Patriots front office is quietly evaluating long-term options, weighing whether Diggs truly fits the evolving identity of the team. Others speculate that frustration may be building on the player's side, fueled by unmet expectations and a desire for a different role within the offense. There is even chatter that rival executives are closely monitoring the situation, ready to act if any cracks widen. What makes this development particularly unsettling is the timing. Diggs is at a point in his career where legacy matters, and any perception of instability can quickly spiral into louder narratives. For a franchise known for discipline and control, Allowing rumors to swirl unchecked feels unusual, which only adds fuel to the fire. For now, everything remains in the realm of speculation. Still, the reappearance of STEFON Diggs' name in these conversations is being treated as a warning sign by many around the league. Whether it leads to a dramatic turn or fades into background noise, one thing is clear. This is not the kind of headline the Patriots or Diggs were hoping to see. That's it for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving fresh and exclusive Patriots news, make sure to subscribe and hit like. We always appreciate hearing your opinions and comments. See you in the next one, Patriots Nation.